Hello everybody and welcome to my video on the ENCOR 35401 exam review from my perspective. I passed the exam in August last year, and I just kind of want to make a video to kind of cover the, well, for a start, when I was looking to do the exam beforehand, I scoured the entire internet, searched YouTube for plenty of videos, and I found them quite insightful just to get people's reviews on where they felt they were and, kind of any areas they felt that they kind of needed to top up on. So I'm just going to give you a quick little background on myself. So I've previously held the CCNP and the old routing and switching track. And I've been a network engineer now for about 6.5 years. And throughout that time, I managed to get obviously the CCNA, the CCNP, and I managed to do all of that within about a year's period. The last time I got the CCNP, I found the troubleshooting one fairly easy. Doing my day-to-day job massively helped in the troubleshooting element of it. The one that I really struggled with was the switching. The switching one, it wasn't my day-to-day role, so there was areas of that I really found that I was quite difficult. The routing and switching one, the routing element of it was I thought was all right. I don't recall struggling. But after 3 years, your certification with COVID hitting, I got an extension. And then I just didn't have time to do any of the studying at the time, which sounds crazy because everyone got pretty much a full year or year and a half off. But when it came to like family commitments and things like that, I wasn't there. I wasn't prepared. I couldn't find the time to really sit down and give it all of the time it needed to prepare myself for the new exam material, especially given the fact that they were adding loads of new topics and wireless and the SD-WAN and things like that. And it was, I just at the time I wasn't ready for it. But last year, I set myself a goal, and I was on and off for, oh god, it was probably about 6 months I was on and off for. Within that 6 months period, it was kind of like, okay, let's go for it. Never really given it 100%. But then eventually, I sat down and I was like, okay, I need to really do something. So I set myself a challenge to get it done within about a 6 to 7 week period. I also challenged a work colleague as well to see if we could try and see if we could do it first, or things like that, just to kind of incentivize and motivate myself to get there. So my schedule for studying, it's going to sound crazy. It may not work for everybody. It certainly worked for me because I've got kids. But I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning, and I was studying until 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then going to work for like 9, and then finishing for like 5, 6, getting in the house, eating for a little bit, and then studying again from 7 till 11. And I did that every single night for a good solid 6 weeks. And then I went into the exam. Now this is I think it was the first time I'd been in an exam at a professional level for a long time. And you just even though you've done these exams, maybe a few times, 100 times, 10 times, 20 times, it's always nerve wracking. The nerves always get to you. You always think to yourself, have I covered enough? Have I done enough? Or am I prepared? Am I ready for this? So I wanted to make a video, and I wanted to kind of cover kind of like my perspective on things. And because when I was getting ready to do my exam certification, all I could do was go on YouTube and just see the ENCOR 35401. What was people's perspectives of the exam? I know you can't obviously give away questions or answers or any sort of like, I was do this or do that, just because you'll breach the Cisco NDA. But I kind of wanted to kind of cover what I did. Like I say, it's probably not for everyone. But it certainly worked for me, especially with having kids, and that time alone, and that that kind of focus moment. It really worked for me. So as you can see, I bought the official book by Cisco, and I'm not a big reader as it already begin from the beginning. And I don't know. the book, I found it very difficult to read. I got about 12 chapters, 13, 14 maybe chapters through, and I was just like, what the hell is this book? It's rubbish. Like, I didn't enjoy any of it. Um, it felt like I was reading it for the sake of just trying to convince myself that it was needed. It was, okay, a checkbox. I've read the book. I've did my best. If I'm going to get tested on anything, it'll be on there. But I only got halfway through and I was like, you know what it is? This is just really, it's draining me on a day to day basis. I'm sitting there with a book, ignoring everybody. So I only went through halfway, so I can't really comment on the whole book. But from what I did read in the first 12, 13, 14 chapters, whatever it was, um, I didn't enjoy it. Didn't work for me. I'm very difficult reading, reader at the best of times anyway. So to have something that is, I don't know if anybody's really went for the full book, but to go through and go, all these different kind of routing protocols, and although that it's your job and you kind of you're into it and all things like that, it's really boring at times. So when I first did my CCNP the first time, I went through the Chris Bryant videos, and I found his material to be absolutely fantastic. He covered every single element. Because I tried the CBT nuggets the first time around, on the old track, and it felt like it was missing things. And when I watched Chris Bryant's videos, I was like, they didn't cover what he's covered, and it was kind of like a gap filler. So then I ended up going for the full course, taking the exam, and then passing it. Well, it was at the time it was 3 exams. I can't remember exactly how many times I took on each. I think troubleshooting I passed first time, because like I said, that's my day to day job. So it felt like it was just natural troubleshooting process. If you have a default gateway, can you ping? Can you trace through? Where can you get to? Things like that. So I found that quite easy. The switching one, if I remember right, I think that was one of the hottest ones, because I mean, as much as everybody says, like, oh yeah, spanning tray and, layer 2, VLANs, lag, and things like that, it's like, you get asked these obscure questions that I don't recall ever saying in my day to day job. You are just literally learning it for the sake of the exam and things like that. Whereas the routing one, that was kind of like your day to day, set up OSPF, set up BGP, things like that. That was kind of like, oh yeah, you can kind of relate to the questions, or the material to the questions that they're asking to your day to day. So in my opinion, I was like, oh yeah, I can relate to what they're asking. I've done this before, and it's been and things like that. So I found the routing one probably the easiest one. The switching one is like, okay, there's loads of crazy things here. I don't really understand all of the all of the stupid questions they ask. Because Cisco do ask some stupid questions at the time, just to try and, well, I mean, they'll probably say you don't, but I feel like they try to catch you out, and they try to like send you this big, massive, long paragraph of a question, and then you've got these 4 answers, and you're just like, okay, 2 of them are maybe completely wrong, and 2 of them maybe under certain circumstances, and things like that. But yeah, I passed that back in 2017, 17, 18, somewhere around there. And the exam lasts for 3 years, so everyone knows that. But during COVID, everyone got a little bit of a cheeky extension, due to the exams being closed off during the whole COVID season. So I got a little bit of an extension. I was like, okay, I've got plenty of time. I'll do some studying for the new material, because it was all brand new material coming out as well for the ENCOR, the whole thing like that. So it was I've got plenty of time. But then you stop procrastinating. You think, that time's slowly but surely creeping down, and then eventually, oof, it's expired. Great. I'm no longer CCNP. I'm no longer CCNA, because that's expired as well, because I've been a bozo and I've just let that lapse as well. And you think, oh no, I've got to do all the exams. Fortunately, the new track, you can just skip a step, so you don't have to go through all of the CCNA stuff again, because if you at that point you would just be giving Cisco money, saying, oh, especially if you've done CCNP before, you should be good enough to do the CCNA anyway, from the get go. You may have to refresh on 1 or 2 topics, things like that, but you should be good enough for that. So Thank you, Cisco, for doing that because then I was allowed to just jump straight into the CCNP level of the Encore. And yeah, so just to kind of what I felt went right was the timing for my training that I was doing. I felt like that worked really well. And for any future exams, I'll continue to do so. So I'll wake up at 5. Well, I tried to wake up at 4 once. That didn't really work down too well when it came to like 8 o'clock at night, and I was like, knocking out Zeds on the city. Um, but when it got to the 5 o'clock, I felt like it was a sweet spot. By the time you get up, you get your coffee, you set your book, or you go for the training materials. So 5 till 8, and then after work, yeah, you do some more. And I did that solid for 6 weeks, and it really did work. And uh, the materials that I used, I actually, well, as I've said, the book, I couldn't read it. It was terrible. I mean, now it's just a heavy paperweight. It looks nice in the background, and the bookshelf. But apart from that, I personally wouldn't recommend it. It's nice to kind of, I guess, get a feel as to see what they're looking for, but it didn't help me in whatsoever. Surprisingly enough, what I ended up doing is I tried to look for the Chris Bryant new variant of the Encore, and I just couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything that was quite it. I actually got the Kevin Wallace training, um, which fantastic trainer. And the training itself is excellent as well. Um, but I got about, I think I got about 80% way through that. And it was really good, but I felt like it was missing things. I feel like although he's technically brilliant, he lacks the engagement that you find with CBT Nuggets. So I was like, oh, you're urgent for that kind of engagement just to kind of get you excited and motivated and get you ready in, because when you're doing these kind of type of exams, that's exactly what you need, because they're so brain numbing that you need someone to kind of say, "Ugh," like, let's kind of let's get excited and let's go for it. So I signed up for the CBT Nuggets again, paid the 50 quid, whatever it is per month, and I was extremely shocked at how well put together the videos were. They're way better now than what they were when I was studying for my first CCNP. Um, and all of the trainers on there are absolutely fantastic. You can tell that they know what they're talking about. Um, and they've got all of the CBD Nuggets. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen any CBD Nuggets video where they haven't had that super high energetic engagement. So that's exactly what you need when you've got 5 o'clock in the morning and you've got a very limited time to get studying. So I was quite surprised. And I'll definitely be using them again for future exams. But yeah, I went through all that and I passed it. I did. So what I do is I do one full pass and I take, just brief notes. Then I go around it a second time just to see if I've missed out any areas where I feel like, okay, write out exactly what you think you know. So you get the blueprint and, section one, you say, okay, what do they expect? What can I honestly say from the top of my head that I think I know the answers or the questions or the answers will be, or what do I know? And I went through, all of the different topics that they cover, and I did okay. I'll be honest. I felt like there was definitely areas that I could hugely, massively improve on with all of the new areas. It was one of those ones where it's like, yes, I can do networking, but when you start asking about wireless signals, you think, who really cares about wireless? I mean, there probably is people out there that is blood, sweat, and tears for wireless. Really get the excited for it, but for me personally, it's not there. So it was very difficult to really get excited. So it was good that they had that kind of energetic energy to kind of keep me up to some sort of like conscious state to when I was watching the videos. Um, so that was good. So that worked really well. That like time worked really well. The training material worked really well apart from the book. I couldn't find anything that was relevant on the INA. INA once upon a time their material was absolutely state of the art, fantastic. But the price tag is just not there unless you're super serious about the CCI, and that's really where they focus on. So I don't feel like they focus on the CCNP, whereas CBD Nuggets that covered it. Now I want to kind of cover some of the areas that I felt like didn't go so well. So the bits that didn't really go so well was all of the new topics. Um, I struggled. Now maybe I'm just, you know, I have something wrong inside, but although I went over the material several times, it some of it just didn't stick. And the bits that did stick, I felt like this is super basic. Like, is it going to be enough? Um, which when I went into the exam, now you're always nervous when you go into an exam, and you may have been there 10, 100,000 times. You still get that early like, oh, what if I fail? Kind of nervousness. What if I've gone in here thinking and I'm the dog's bollocks, and it is at the end that you failed. No matter what the score is, a fail is a fail. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. You always go in there with the idea of saying, I'm going to pass this exam, and I'm gonna smash it, and it doesn't matter uh what we do. I'm gonna just nail it. But I'll be honest. So I went to the exam, and you get signed in, you wait, you go, and all that sort of stuff. The very first question, I can't remember exactly what it was. To be honest, I can't remember any of the questions. Um, I just remember going, huh, and then just going, huh, like, started my head started giving a bit of a shake, and I was thinking, what? Uh, like, felt like I was in the wrong exam, and I was like, okay, trying do the process of elimination. Oh, can it be that one? It definitely can't be that one. Maybe that one under certain circumstances. And I felt like I did that for absolutely every single one. Some of them you could say, yeah, it's definitely that. But the majority of them, I just felt like, what the hell is this question, and what are these answers all about? Now, probably not what you want to hear, but it's probably just to kind of to reiterate how hard these exams are. These exams are super hard. Now, every question I just felt like, this is I've messed it up. That's it. I'm hitting this fail wall. There's no way that I could possibly even recover. Um, and the more and more the exam goes on, you start looking at the top right hand corner of the exam screen. You start seeing the counter of the timer ticking down further and further and further, because you kind of think, okay, well, um I need to spend some more time on this simulation, or I need to spend some more time on this question, because it may give me more points to the system that help. Then you think yourself, am I spending too much time on this question? Like, should I be moving on? Like, am I just am I just not prepared? And I kind of need to now start thinking about Plan B. Taking as many notes as possible, going back to the drawing board, revising, and revisiting the areas that I've just categorically failed on. Um, so that was playing in my mind, and it got to, like, the final question, and I was just like, my legs were up on the seat. I'm starting to like sweat like crazy, and I was just like, this is so embarrassing. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna tell the family that this exam was just ridiculous. I'm not prepared, even though the 6 months on and off, and all of the years experience that I've been doing a job as a network engineer, and only the 6 weeks of, like, 10 hours, 15 hours a day, whatever. I was ending up doing some days, just wasn't enough. And maybe I could have done more. Maybe I did rush it a little bit, just to try and to do the race a little bit faster. But I didn't enjoy it. It was horrible. It was one of the worst exams I think I've ever did in my life. Um, but looking back now, there is areas where I think myself, maybe we probably should have done multiple passes, multiple flashcards, multiple mini exams, because you can get the BOSON as well. Oh, that reminds me of the BOSON. One of the reasons why I didn't do the exam the first time around. Now, BOSON come out with this exam simulator that you can buy. I think it's like $80-$90 or something. Um, and the questions on there are like bang on. The idea is that if you buy this exam simulator, and you can get any semi decent score, you're gonna absolutely nail the exam, because the exam questions are so nicely fitted around this type of style that Cisco ask, but they are so difficult and so niche that they're gonna if you do any sort of decent score on there, then you'll do all right. And I remember the very first time I bought it, when I was CCNP the first time around. I bought it. I was like, yeah, well, let's just go and do the BOSON. Let's get an exam First question, huh? Second question, huh? And I did that for like 50 questions. I was like, not this month, not next month, not the month after, maybe not even this year. You know, it's not like, do I even to be a network engineer? Like, what the hell is all these questions? So that was a funny story when I just went, nah, I'm not doing this. This is absolutely no chance of BOSON. The BOSON is so hot, so hard. But the point is that like, if you can get the BOSON and you can understand it, because they give you some really good explanations as well on what the solution could be for this the question that they're asking at the time. If you can do anything on that's fantastic. But yeah, the overall, I came out with a pass, and I got the encore. It definitely opened up and set my expectations where I thought. So I don't know if I was just being too critical with myself, feeling like I should have done better, but I definitely think there was possibly an element of luck, like going back, because I still it was one of the worst exams I've ever did. I kind of came out and I was like, I was shocked. I was shell shocked. I didn't know what the hell had happened. I came out and I was like, what was that? So if you're gonna do the encore exam, preparation is absolute key. I would definitely go through again. If I was to do it again, I would go through every single topic and I would make sure that I am up to possibly even expert level, and just go through every single question thorough with a fine comb and just be like, okay, do I really know um the the the, the topic as well as I could? I know it's difficult. Like I say, I struggle with wireless. I mean, who in the right mind has any heart for wireless? I just fight when it's talking about the radio waves and things like that, and all of the mathematical equations that are involved is just like, oh, like come on, man. That's just where's your ping, where's your ping, where's your trace route, where's your SPF, where's your BGP, where's all the fun stuff. So yeah, it's if I ever have to do it again, if I don't do another professional level or get somebody else, I'll definitely do things different. But I'll take what I learned from that experience of that exam to kind of set my expectations up for future exams. Just a level of what I needed to, what I did do, what I feel like afterwards, what I should have done, and the preparation time and things like that. And just kind of set that as the base level. Because I feel like 6 weeks is far too short, even with all my years' experience and having the CCNP before. It probably should have been a solid 6 months of just constant, 5 to 10 hours a day, revising, labbing, revising, labbing, and revising, labbing again, and then testing flashcards, BOSON, reading that book, nugget videos, book again, maybe, and just going over and over and over until, to a point where you're having dreams about it, because it was so hard. I watched videos on the internet and they were like, yeah, it was all right. I did all right. It was, so I felt like the exam was going to be easy peasy. Nah, hardest exam that I've ever did in my life, to a point where I feel like it scarred us. Well, yeah, the Encore's great exam, great to kind of set the level of where you needed to be. It is part of the CCIE, so you've kind of got to understand the reasoning for it. And yeah, that's just it. I just wanted to make a video just to kind of get it out in the open. I'm going to be doing more YouTube videos on just general network and general tech, just probably just sit down, chat, how things like that, and just kind of just get things off my chest. So this is my thoughts on the CCNP CCI Enterprise Encore Exam 35401. Main thing to take from this: don't underestimate the exam. Study, study, and study. And then when you feel like you've done all the study again, and then cover the book, the training materials and things like that. And if your employer pays for it, then fantastic. Because otherwise, there's a potential you're just gonna throw them on your way, and that's just there's no point. Hardest exam ever. Learn the blueprint. It's it's needed. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.